welcome. We're heading into Thanksgiving, right? Is everybody ready for Thanksgiving? Yay! So I'm going to introduce 3 artists to you tonight that we have the pleasure of looking at their work. And Anna James is going to start things off, tell you a little bit about her work, and then she's going to hand things.
You're fine.
Oh, you're good. Then she's going to hand things over to Mia Schulte, and Mia Schulte will then hand things over to Tony. I'm sorry. And then we will, you can ask them questions, and they will tell you a little bit about their work. So, Tony Matthews will wrap it up. So Anna James is going to start us off. Everybody give her a warm welcome.
Woo! Hi, my name is Anna James. Thank you so much for coming to my show, Headscapes. So for me, this show is kind of a representation of my mental landscape, as I like to call it. For me, it's a way to combine both a love and appreciation for nature with my mental health struggles that I've had over the years. Like many people, I have struggled with anxiety and depression, and throughout all of that, nature has been something that I've turned to a lot because it's very calming, it's very peaceful. So for me, it's just been very therapeutic to make art about this nature that I love and I appreciate. So as I started this series, it was kind of supposed to be a way for me to confront these issues and these struggles that I've had. And as it has gone on, it has kind of changed and become more about forgiveness, more about making peace with myself, more about taking this emotional baggage, taking these things that I've struggled with, and then telling myself, hey, you know what? You don't need to hold on to that anymore. You can kind of just let go of it. You can lay that to rest. You can let yourself breathe. And so working on this show has just been a very healing, very happy process for me, which I did not think it was going to be. I thought it was going to be so stressful and nerve-wracking, and it is, but in the end, I've ended up with something that has brought me a lot of joy and a lot of comfort, and I feel like I can kind of finally just take a deep breath and let it all go. Are there any questions? Peyton.
Do you have a favorite and why?
Yes, I have 2 pieces that I kind of consider my favorites. They're these 2 back here. This painting is a favorite of mine just purely from like a aesthetic standpoint. I just really love how it turned out. It's a piece that I had a lot of fun working on. It was also a piece that I made at a time when I felt like most of the work I'd been doing was stuff for class, for assignments, and so I worked on that one summer when I had some downtime, and I kind of just had a chance to be like, well, what do I want to make? Because it's not for a grade. I'm not doing it because a teacher has told me to do this. What do I want to make? And so that's the finished piece. I love it. It's the lock screen on my phone. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done. And so just purely from like a style standpoint, I like that. My second favorite piece is my ceramic arm right here. It has flowers growing out of it. I have not had a whole lot of experience working with ceramics, so it's kind of funny that that's a favorite of mine, but it's one of the most honest, one of the most confrontational with myself pieces I've ever made, and making a piece like that's really scary, but I'm very happy with it. Morgan.
I know you're going to be a future educator,
Yes.
And you have used this art as a way to kind of heal and confront your issues. Do you think that when you have students in the future, you will help them recognize that they can use art in the same way?
Absolutely. I think that art is a way for people to express themselves when they don't know how to express themselves. I think it's an incredible tool for healing, for starting a conversation, And as a future educator, I just really want to be able to help my students be comfortable enough to explore that in my classroom. Taylor?
Do you think that maybe you'll be able to expand on size? Because you have such, I love your landscapes, and I would love to see you like maybe covering a wall, or maybe, you know, since you're a teacher, they can maybe let you do like a mural, and you can create a safe space for your children, you know, in the future.
Absolutely. I actually am capable of working much bigger than this. I have done quite a few mural paintings. Never for myself, that's been for more commercial aspects. So I am absolutely down to at some point expand it.
So I've noticed in your other sculpture piece that they are all Converse. Is there a reason?
They're my favorite shoe. I buy a new pair every like year or two when they run out. And then I just threw them in my closet over the years. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'll like make an art piece out of it one day. And voila, I did. But yes, as you can see, they're really old and yucky. I call that piece Past Lives because, you know, I wore one of those pairs in like 2016, I wore one in like 2017, and I'm not the person that I was in 2016 when I wore those shoes. I'm not the person I was in 2017 when I wore that other pair. And so it's just kind of like, I've grown, but the choice of shoes are still the same. Mm-hmm. Dr. Wilmer?
I just wondered, you talked about this being like a cathartic almost experience for you, and I wonder if there's a chronology to it that I haven't gotten to the end yet, so I'm wondering if you could talk about that a little bit.
Well, the way it's hung is not very chronological. We just kind of went, okay, this looks good by each other. Let's slap that on the wall. But yes, as I was working on it, I did notice that it started going from less dark, kind of depressing things to being more about like, I'm gonna make peace with this. And so I think while I was working, I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm doing a lot better. I'm in a much better headspace than I was when I started this. And so it's just been a very interesting journey to go on.
Thank you.
Are there any other, Peyton?
I know that you did some embroidery in some of your pieces on paper.
Yes.
Did you enjoy doing that, or is there a reason that you did that?
There wasn't originally any reason other than I saw an embroidered tote bag on the internet and I thought it looked really cool. But I fell in love with it. I absolutely want to keep doing it and actually do real embroidery on fabric. But as I was working on it, I started thinking about the fact that embroidery, sewing, stuff like that's traditionally considered, you know, craft, or it's traditionally considered something that's just for females. And I really liked the idea of kind of taking something that's so deep-rooted in these traditional aspects and putting it in like a fine art sense and kind of reclaiming it in a way. Well, if there are no more questions at this time, I would like to thank everybody once again for coming to my show, and please head next door to see Mia Schulte's show.